Go.
Hey guys, we are here. We just want to kind of give you another update with the marriage maintenance video. This time we're going to focus on kind of the overall theme of why we're doing this. Why is this important? Specifically with the spiritual, emotional, and physical elements of your relationship. So, yeah, some of the kind of things we're going to address with this next video are what does it look like to thrive? What does it look like for some practical steps and how we can do these things that we're talking about in our marriages and in our relationships? What do some roadblocks look like with these different areas, and what do pitfalls look like? So those are going to be some of the things we kind of try to focus on just from our own experience and from seeing some things we've seen, talking with you guys, talking with other people. So hopefully it's helpful.
So yeah, the whole premise of kind of what we're looking at is, and we've talked about earlier from the beginning, is having this intimate connection in different areas, and that's really the kind of the 30-day part of this challenge, is that this daily connection in these areas, like Megan mentioned, the spiritual, emotional, and physical. But there's some things that we need to talk about, kind of that are overarching, really, because you can't just totally compartmentalize spiritual or emotional or physical as if they don't play into each other. They certainly do, and so we certainly will acknowledge that and talk about that. But before we get into each one of these areas, we want to talk just for a second about the idea of intimacy. This idea of intimacy is that, look, in each of these areas, there are things that you share with each other that you really don't share with somebody else. That's what makes them intimate. And so, like, when we can work on spiritual intimacy or emotional intimacy or physical intimacy, this kind of builds this comprehensive intimacy that is very shaping and connecting in a marriage. And right up front, right out of the gate, it's like, look, these particular things, these particular areas of intimacy, you should work on them, and these should be things that show up in your marriage and don't really show up other places. There shouldn't be this intimacy really in any one of these areas for me, with a woman other than Megan. These kind of intimacies shouldn't show up. And the same thing with Megan. It's like, now there's some intimate connections that happen with friendships as you go and you share things with good girlfriends or friends of mine, that we can sit down and talk and have a good time. But ultimately, we're talking about intimacy. This is where we're going. We also want to acknowledge, before we jump into this stuff, we also want to acknowledge that, like, look, we're going to give you roughly 5 minutes on each one of these areas, but that we want you to know that we're available. I'm available. Megan and I both are available to you to help with some of this. Maybe some counseling, some areas, if you just need somebody to talk to, because there's some things where it's like, look, we talk about roadblocks and kind of what stalls you out in these areas. There's some things that are common to all of us, but then there's some things that are not common to all of us. There can be a history of abuse or a history of, some physical things or emotional baggage and all of that. And so we just want you to know we love you. We're here for you. We want to help you. And that if that's something where you say, man, I need to talk to somebody, give us a call. Get in touch with us some kind of way, and we'd love to set up a time to sit with you and to walk through some of this stuff. So yeah, here we go. We'll jump into one of these three areas.